Hey everybody, this is James with wstrades.com. I want to provide an update here on FAMI stock, or FARMMI Inc. Big gap up today. Yesterday was a huge bull candle. I was expecting this thing to die off a little bit. It just gapped up and just continued to pump higher. You can see this thing got all the way up to about 53 cents at one point before the sellers stepped in, crushed this thing down quite a bit. You see the wick sticking out on top, wick sticking out on bottom. So pretty indecisive candle for the most part, even though of course we had the massive gap up and the buyers did win a little bit. As you can see, this candle is green and there is a small body on this candle right now, but you can definitely see the sellers were pushing back pretty hard on around this 46-cent level here. This thing is almost in the overbought range again. I could see this thing getting up into the overbought range a little bit, like we saw back here earlier in September 10th. There was this fat gap up in bull candle, and then it was a nasty, ugly sell-off. We came all the way from around 60 cents eventually after the sell-off all the way down to around 20 cents. So I definitely would be cautious about buying in around this 50 to 60 cent level if it does make another run at it. We know what happened with GameStop, but I could see this thing getting up here overbought again before this thing retraces. Again, it's really hard on the daily chart to really see much of anything going on. So I'm going to switch this thing up to maybe something that's a little more descriptive of the price action of the stock. And when you go into the 15-minute chart here, you can kind of get a better idea of what's going on here. Over the last 5 days, you have this thing really flattening out around this 19-20 cent mark, and then it made a little run up, started to kind of chop around again, and then once it got above the 21 here on Wednesday is when you saw this massive run up to like 53 cents. As you can see today, this thing really chopped around. It went down to around 37 cents. At market open, it was around 53 cents. It came back up, and now it's just kind of chopping around right at this 21-day EMA. So after this big move up here, you can see that it's starting to consolidate and go sideways. I'm going to try to draw out a trend line here just to kind of show where you might be looking at an uptrend here that kind of got busted. So you can kind of see crazy sharp move up here. If you're looking at Wednesday, that's when it really started to make the big move. And then after hours, pre-market continued to pump, and then it finally, started to sell off and come down a little bit. So I'm going to draw another trend line out here and kind of go in this direction and then zoom in a little bit. So yeah, you can kind of see how it was really riding above there after hours, pre-market, and then it fell below. A lot of profit taking happening here. Now this thing is kind of chopping sideways and hanging around the 21. I would say for this thing to really start to make a pump higher again, I would like to see it break this downtrend line right here. This thing can get above this and close above it and start to move away from this trend line. This thing could make another run. But I would think with this massive gain we've seen in the last 2 days that this thing is probably going to die off. I'll continue to keep you guys updated on FAMI. Please like this video. Please also subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, hit that notification bell. Appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this. Talk to you soon.